Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of Believe Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and alongside me is Adam Hall. And we're also brought to you by Bet Online, the world's most trusted batting platform and your number one source for everything sports. For preseason football to college kickoff, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in our winner-take-all 300,000 NFL Survivor Pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head on over to the online casino and a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get the promo code BLEAV, and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here, and we had football over the weekend. Already had an upset in the weekend. Our sincere apologies to our good friend Alyssa Orange and the Florida State Seminoles. I think Aaron Weatherford, our good friend who does 8-man coverage, also brutal loss. Go all the way halfway across the country. Everybody's already steaming from them getting left out the college football playoffs. There was a bunch of signs. They were ready to get at Kirk, and then they lay an egg. And other than South Carolina, I don't like to see anyone else lose more than Florida State. So it made me happy to start off week 0, but I can't laugh too much because my week 1 opponent is the defending national champions, Georgia Bulldogs. So I'll hold that in for a little bit, enjoy it, because I know our beatdown's coming.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention until, I guess, Friday night or earlier Saturday morning on what time that game was kicking off, and I was just like, oh, crap, it's at 11 o'clock. So turned it on and watched the majority, probably the first 3 quarters, and then I was kind of in and out after that. I thought it was funny that out of everybody that was picking on the game day, WWE superstar Sheamus was the only one to pick Georgia Tech, and he's from Ireland, and it's one of those things that or is he from Scotland, whichever. But I just thought it was funny that he's the only one, and there was some tweet that was put out that was kind of talking about him being this like smart, and the way it was worded, I was like, so are you saying like wrestlers are dumb? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and you're always going to have those. But I feel sorry for the ones that on college game day that predicted Florida State to be, and it still could happen. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's only week 0, but you had the picks of the college football playoffs, and Florida State was in, I think, 2 or 3 of them, other than Desmond Howard. I think he's the only one that didn't predict him to make the final 12. So, I mean, but these games happen every year. There's always an upset, they bounce back, or there's always that team. They said, what team is ranked that could be unranked by the end of the season? And you have a team that you're starting off not only, but I don't know, did that count as a conference game? Because I know sometimes they'll play these games in conference, but they don't count as a conference game.
As far as because they had ACC on the field, like it was ready to go. So,
and I want to say North Carolina State played somebody, and it was a conference team, but it didn't count as a conference opponent. And I'll have to do some digging on that. But yeah, but we already started off with a bang. Arkansas UAPB in War Memorial Stadium on Thursday. And look, this could shape up to be a really cool weekend. I know a lot of people who cover the high school sports, they know all about the Salt Bowl. You got Arkansas UAPB Thursday, Salt Bowl on Friday. So a lot of action that is going to be, and I'm going to ask this question now, but it's going to be our question of the day tomorrow. Who will have more in attendance at the game, Benton Bryant or Arkansas UAPB? I'll ask you. Which one do you think?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I didn't know up until last year what the Salt Bowl even was, and maybe that's bad on my part. I don't know what kind of turnout they typically have. So I'm just going to go with Arkansas UAPB. And I know we'll get into Little Rock more later, but this is something that one reason I think that there's going to be more of a turnout than last season is fans coming to see Bobby Petrino and his offense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're going to have a good crowd. I know that. And what we're going to do, we're going to dive into the whole War Memorial Stadium deal leading into the second segment, because Sam Pittman brought up something about how many more years he thinks they'll play. They got Arkansas State slated, but we'll start off second segment with that aspect of it. But it's going to be great. Fans were happy that football is here, so no matter what the opponent, I know Sam Pittman had talked about Kudus is kind of could be on or status right now, but more than likely not. I know with injuries, we got to be careful on saying definitely or whatever. I know the SEC, I don't know if they've changed the rules completely or if they have to be more honest about the injury stuff now, but that's not boding well for what most said that was the most important group coming in to the season. You already have somebody battling back issues. And look, that's something that couldn't come and go. It could flare up 8 weeks into the season. You never know with these back injuries what's going on.
You want to see everybody like healthy, ready to go. And I'm not taking anything away from this game, but you want everybody there ready to go for Oklahoma State. So I get it. Yeah. You would rather somebody be at which even still in the game of football, I don't think anybody's ever really at 100%. I mean, just the beat down their bodies take day in and day out. But, something like your back, let him rest, let Marion Harris get some playing time, see how that goes. I know that there's some other players that have been in and out of practice and whatnot. So it's given an opportunity for, especially in a game like this, somebody else to shine. It's your turn. Maybe something happens that somebody comes back from a nagging injury and they're just not with it. And that you've got a solid guy that filled the position while they're gone.
Yeah.
So it works out in your favor.
Well, and Pittman and Petrino, Williams, they done said, they're really wanting to try to get some depth this year. They're really wanting to rotate on the line, defensive line, offensive line. So this is the perfect game to do that. But also, to your point, this game here is very important from a execution style. You want to make sure you're executing your plays. You're getting on the ball. You're making the tackles. You're not missing tackles. You're not missing assignments. It's not worth putting him in there, especially say, I don't care if he's 75, 80%. It's not worth putting him in there and say he gets hurt. Next week is it's week 2, but it's the most important week of the season because it's going to set the tone on where you're at. And it can set the tone of you start off 2-0 heading into UAB, go 3-0. I mean, this is a very, very important game coming up week 2. So, you want to get all your ducks in a row. You want to execute. You want to be done with this game, maybe mid-third quarter, something like that. But yeah, it's not worth it. And especially if he's not 100%, don't put him in there. But the PTSD, the fans that are used to this type of deal, I know it's going to be uneasy hearing every day the update on him next week when it comes to Oklahoma State, because they're not going to come right out and say on Saturday or Monday morning, he's good to go, he's cleared. It's going to be drawn out, and it might be one of them game time decisions.
We'll see what happens when that comes, going into this game. I don't want everybody's expectations, because I know mine are this way a little bit. I have a feeling just in my gut that this game is going to potentially start slow. Maybe we're going to see a punt or two right in the beginning. Maybe not. You obviously hope they just come out guns blazing. But, I see some early, just kind of stagnant drives before they really maybe get fluid and get things going and whatnot. And that's a part of your first game. I mean, it's not going to be, you're not going to score on your opening drive like we saw this weekend with Georgia Tech and Florida State.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those that you just take it as it comes. You just hope to see that you can move the ball, that your offensive line is holding up and blocking, that you actually have a running game, and go from there. Because honestly, I'd like to see what our punters are going to be able to do. Can they flip the field? I'd like to see a lot out of the special teams.
Yeah, that's going to be a big question is, how do you replace Cam Little? How do you replace Max Fletcher? How do you, and that got a lot of crap last year, but he was spotty, but when he could punt it, I mean, he was booming it. So, and that is a very important aspect of the game and has kind of bailed Arkansas out. And I know you can't bail them out too many times when you're 4-8, but I mean, he really did a great job of flipping the field. And then Cam Little hitting almost automatic from anywhere on the field. To see how they replace that O-line, man, it's almost got me bummed out, because you want to believe in this team. You want to embrace the Hog. You want this to be Bobby Petrino comes back and this thing starts. I'm not saying automatically jumps to 9-10 wins or 8-9 wins, but you go 7-5, like I said they would. You want it to start off and give the fans something to look for. And when you have someone like Kudus, with an injury, possibly out for this game, and we don't know the status of him it just kind of bums you out because you want so bad for this team to be successful this year, make a bowl game, to get people like you, get other fans to where they can believe that they can make a bowl game. We don't want another year. Next year, we're coming in. Where do we think this team's going to be at? Or will this be the year they finally turn things around and make a bowl game?
Yeah, and I'm looking up here because you brought it up earlier, like with the injury reports, that it is still not an official approved thing yet. Brandon Marcello put out a few days ago. They've not yet approved the injury reports, and I'm told the policy will only be for conference games, so week 1 wouldn't be an issue anyway. So we could see it by, week 4, week 5, whatever. But, it's one of those things that I think a lot of that it's still going to be pencil whip to a degree. So you seemed like you got through the majority of camp unscathed, or at least we didn't hear about much on the injury side of things. I think it kind of snuck up on me, especially like just seeing one of the last fall camp reports, the players that had been out for 2 days, a week, 2 weeks. I was just kind of like, oh, seemed like we were all fine and dandy on that front. And then you've got 12 people that have been missing. And then hearing about the concussions earlier in the camp, I think Luke Haas was one of those, and some others, which if you're wearing Guardian caps, I thought that was supposed to eliminate the whole concussion thing, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But, who knows? And, listening to Coach Pittman's press conference, I've never really paid much attention, I guess, to the whole team traveling to Little Rock and preparing for games at War Memorial. But, he was asked, I believe, by Trey Biddy on their preparation and if they're going to do a walkthrough or anything at War Memorial when they get there. And he said no, that they typically do that in Fayetteville before they travel, and they don't do those on away fields. And I'm just kind of like, but this is supposed to be your second home. Yeah. Like, I get the mindset, and then they're going to be bussing down, which I get it, Fayetteville to Little Rock on a plane would be what, 20 minutes, if that, 15 minutes. But I don't know. It is treated 100% like a road game.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to say, for the most part, don't they stay in a hotel in home games? I mean, they do something similar in the home games. And so the difference, I mean, you're looking at a 3-hour drive compared to, well, I will say 3.5-hour drive compared to right there on campus. But it's a lot of people are superstitious, but yet also, you go on those 3-game road stints. You're trying to get your guys used to the routine of this is what we do on a road game. And so I'm not saying anything against War Memorial, but you're using this game being in Little Rock is, all right, guys, this is how we're going to bus. This is how we're going to eat. This is where we're going to do our walkthrough. Then we're going to get on the bus, plane, and travel, So it's just kind of that routine thing, getting your guys, your younger guys, used to the system. And again, it's a 3-hour ride. Now, if you're going to do this and you're busing to Starkville, or Oxford, something like that. Yeah, it'd be something, but there's a lot that goes into, and look, it's a bonding thing. You're getting on a bus, you're going down Little Rock. These guys that are bought in, they're trying to come together and really be a different type of team mentally and have that leader and have that camaraderie. This is how you do it. Those little trips, you never know. It's so silly to say or whatever, but you never know, just that one bus trip, what might happen, and relationships that form and trust. And all it takes is the one spark to get things rolling. And then the importance of this year, you got to take every little win you can. And if it's something that happens and they want to treat it like a road game and it gets people in a rhythm, I don't have anything against it.
Who is, for this game coming up, and we'll take the offensive line out of this question, who is a player, duo, or group that we can do offense, we can do defense, doesn't matter, who you're looking forward the most to seeing?
I honestly, running back, I want to see what Jackson does, Dominion does. I want to see that one. Yes, that it kind of is cheating a little bit. Said offense, we got to take offensive line about it, but yes, it's a run game. I want to see how because look, no knock on UAPB, but you should easily get 3 to 4 run yards of carry easy against this team. 5 maybe, but then again, let's see what Braylon Russell does. You're talking about getting some of these Little Rock kids in the game. I mean, look at Kudus is out, and Marion Harris. He's going to probably get the start. Dude's 6'5", 6'7", 300 pounds. So you're not losing. I mean, you're losing experience, but you're not losing size. So what better way to get him some experience and against UAPB? Defensive side, I want to go Landon Jackson. The fact that I want to see how he controls this defense with an inferior opponent. The leadership. What did we lack so much last year was a leader.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get pumped up against Texas and Tennessee and Ole Miss and Alabama and LSU. How do you get your team fired up first game of the year and keep them in it? I'm looking at second, third quarter. It would say games starting to get out of hand. Score-wise, I want to see how you're still fired up. You're getting your guys pumped up. If somebody jumps off sides, what are you doing to go correct them? If there's a penalty. So I go Jackson and Jackson.
Jackson and Jackson. There we go. I think on mine, I think for the offense, and since you went running backs, I actually was thinking the other way anyway. I'm gonna go wide receiver in this, but it's a combination of Taylon Green and I don't necessarily. Okay, I'm gonna throw out Broden number one, but I'll throw out Armstrong in that mix. Not all the wide receivers, but them too. I feel like last year, and I hate saying like last year was fresh. It was fresh for him. It's a new team. We know the fiasco with Dan Enos, other issues going on at quarterback and everything else. I think that this is, especially under Bobby Petrino, completely different offense, different quarterback, different style of quarterback. Seeing this offseason, I have really just bought into Tyrone Broden and Andrew Armstrong. So obviously with their success needs to come from Taylon Green, but, being 6'7" and 6'4", and, we're pumping up the over 20 or 21, 22 miles an hour. I think Broden on the latest one, like he was the fastest on the team at like 22.757, something like that, miles per hour. And, he's 6'7" and the fastest one on the team. And I'm just sitting here looking at UAPB and I'm like, nobody should Nobody should be able to match up with you.
Yeah.
You
And
should
you
be
got
able
what-
to catch and run. And
he's a track star too, right?
Yeah.
And he's the other one.
he's moving up the depth chart as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tube deep right now. And Jordan Anthony is second stop on the WRZ. You got the WRX, WRW, and WRZ. So you have Broden and then Jordan Anthony. You got tight end, you got Haas, Gums, and then Washington. I thought that was interesting to see Gums ahead of Washington. So I want to see the timing. I think having Taylon Green, who's going to be his favorite? I mean, you got Armstrong, you got Satine. Who's going to be his go-to guy? Look, I'll tell you what. Slot could be that. When I say go-to guy, I don't know what it is about a guy like Tesla. I think Hunter Renfrow, a guy that he might not get the most receiving yards, but that one guy that you can count on to get that third down catch, to get separation. I want to see Tesla be that type of guy where you need that third down conversion, or you're running a 2-minute offense and you need that guy that can get out of bounds and get you that catch. And that's who I'm kind of excited to see how he does. He's been getting a lot of publicity. He's been getting a lot of talk. So the timing, it goes along with the execution. I think we're really going to see how well they do, because you're running against another team. You're not doing practice against yourselves anymore. You're not doing these practices where you're playing against the same defense week on end. So, but I think what you said, I mean, that's where we are. I think you could really go 1A and 1B with it. Where are you at on the defensive side?
So Landon Jackson, I think, needs to be his year. Get ready for the NFL draft. You know, like we talked about last year, he jumped the draft boards after the Alabama game. You know, yes, we know that it was against a freshman. It's been documented. It's been whatever. But after that game, you know, just kind of fell off. And I think he finished with 6.5 sacks. So he's something I think we need to see consistent from game in and game out, at the line, in the huddle, on the sideline, just leader like you're talking. But this game, I'm really looking forward to seeing how these linebackers are, because it's going to not look like last year. And, you know, with the guys that we've lost. So I'm just curious from the linebacker position what we're going to put out there. And honestly, one of the newcomers I'm looking forward to seeing on the defense is Danico Slaughter. So he's one that I believe he's in the secondary, though, isn't he?
I'm trying to look for him on. Yeah, he's NB Nickelback, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So,
but yeah, he's first.
He's a hard hitter, and I mean, playing at Tennessee and whatnot, like I think he's got something to prove.
I think that whole second, you know, everybody talks about the linebacker group because of what they lost, but Hudson Clark, for me, that secondary, you cannot let somebody get behind you. I don't care if you miss an assignment or what. This is one of them games where you got to be on point. And other than the opponent, this is just as important game as Oklahoma State, because look, everybody's expecting you to beat this team by 40. No way around it. Everybody is expecting you to blow this game out. So I know we keep on talking about UAP, and no disrespect to them, but look, I'm saying this because it's an SEC school against, you know, an HBCU. You're a lower tier team, and if you're supposed to be at the cream of the crop, you're in the elite conference, the SEC, you should beat all the teams in that conference by 40. But you cannot let these guys get behind you. You got to be in position, because I'm telling you, Hudson Clark, this is his last year. He wants to make just as much of an impact as Landon Jackson. You can't let these guys get behind you. You can't blow coverage, because look, you can't afford to this year. Even an opponent like UAPB, you cannot afford to, because you've got Oklahoma State coming up. You got to button that down. So, and even Jaden Johnson, you know, you got these guys that the whole defense is in question, other than Landon Jackson. I'd even throw Eric Gregory in there, but there's a lot of people talking about Marquise Robinson, saying he's going to come on strong. So there's a lot of promise. I've heard that all of the guys who have transferred in will have a significant role on this team. There is a lot of veteran players on this team. That's going to come into it too. Act like it. If we're talking about how many veteran 5th year, 6th year transfer guys, seniors are on this team, that's even more of not of an excuse to false start, to jump off sides, to pass interference, and even the silly things. After the play's over, stop. Don't do these extra shoves. Don't do anything that can get you 15 yards, because just because it's UAPB, you're going to carry that over, and that's going to follow into another game where you really can't afford a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, we know that at some point there's going to be somebody that makes a mistake, them in their head, overreacting, whatever. And it's how are their teammates going to react to them overreacting in a sense and reel them back in. Be the teammate, be the leader, and pull them back down just to chill them out. Because somebody's going to have to at some point.
Yeah, and you'll see that in those games where it's a high. Let's just throw Oklahoma next week. It's a highly anticipated game. You're going to their place, and tempers, I guess adrenaline and all that's going to be running high. So yeah, you could see stuff like that where you need to set that tone early. Like, hey, let's chill out. Let's cool out. Don't let it get to the point to where somebody's already losing their cool. If you see somebody in between plays starting to get a little chirpy, you got to go to the Bobby Petrino route and really handle this business like this year. You don't have now, unless you're just rolling, you're sitting there pretty 6-0. You're just a dominant team. You're kicking everybody's tail. You really don't have the room to be doing any of that anyway until you've proven that you're going to do it on the field as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you really have to go into this realizing how you finished last year, and you can't accept any of those, things that come into play that cost you yards that potentially end up costing you a game.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we're going to jump into more of the Arkansas game, mostly it being in Little Rock. Sam Pittman's comments. We're going to come back from the break with comments from Sam Pittman about Little Rock game, how much longer he thinks, our thoughts on how long this will last in games, and we'll even touch on those who are trying to get more games to be played in Little Rock. We'll catch you after the break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance.
And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Meadows Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together.
Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And before the break, we talked about War Memorial Stadium. Sam Pittman had some comments about what he thought about the series in Little Rock and how many more games he thought would be played in War Memorial Stadium.
Half of the concern, okay, is that we're going to play in our stadium once in the first 5 games, and one of them's in Little Rock and one of them's in Dallas. Now, the Dallas game is, we'll end up playing Texas A&M here next year. But if you look at it and you consistently look at it, I believe the year we won 9, I think we had 6 games, and I think 4 of them, y'all check me on this, but I'm saying I think 4 of them were home games, and we were in here twice. And I, to be honest with you, I just don't know that it's fair to the fans. I mean, they know where the University of Arkansas is. They can plan it. They can get here for games. I think they want to be here for games. So there are problems with that, including the one for 5 here. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you, in the future. Obviously, we're going to go play Arkansas State a year from now over there in Little Rock, but I think there's a lot of conversation probably needs to be had between now and 2026.
Yeah. To his point, not being fair to the fans. Look, this is going to piss off 2/3 of the state, but I agree. You're asking more of the fans. You're wanting fans to chip in to the edge and give their money, raising ticket prices, and you're wanting people to get season passes, and they don't include this in it. Now, if they included this in the season ticket package, maybe I could see a way that they could do that. But with recruiting, NIL, all that, and to have 2 games that could be in a year be home games, if depending on the Arlington game, which that's going to be away after this year. So you're getting rid of half of the problem after this year. But there's a lot more to be said about the game in War Memorial, that it's a high school stadium now. And you don't have the infrastructure for the technology in this. You have to do a major overhaul. And you're talking about, Adam, injuries. That field down there is not the best conditions to be playing on in the first place.
This is one that go back and forth on, because I see both sides of it. We all, the games that have been played at War Memorial, the memories, the everything. I just look at it that we're taking, which every year, however it's played out, we're taking away games that should be in Fayetteville. I mean, even going back to before Pittman, I remember, Brett Bielema talked about here and there when asked about it, like, this is an away game. It's not a home game, even though it's in our home state. And, it's one of those things, kind of like Pittman said, like, people, and this is where kind of the both sides of it. Pittman talk about people know where the university is. They can plan for it. They can travel. I mean, you can say the same thing about the Little Rock games. But I will say is one argument that I am tired of hearing or concern or whatever is people wanting a better game at War Memorial than say the Western Carolina UAPB. I believe UAPB was also there in 2021. Thing is no matter what game you get there, it should be sold out.
Yeah.
If you want a better game, sell the game out to show why you deserve a better game. But when you were only filling 40 to 45,000 and what is it, 50 to 53,000 or something around there, you know, I feel like the game should be sold out if you're calling for a better game to be played there.
2 points on that. And I've even asked this question a few months back. If this was the Nut days, if this is early Bobby Petrino when he was here the first time, if you have that kind of team, if you're winning, are we having this discussion? You're a struggling program right now trying to get people to buy into your program, you know, but I do see both sides of it, because on the other side, it's like you're talking about not fair to the fans. Yes, you're not playing any games in Little Rock, but yet what about the fans who are giving season tickets? They're giving money to the Razorback Foundation. They're giving so much. They're the ones losing because they're losing a game from Fayetteville because they're paying for a season ticket. They're paying for the Razorback Foundation. And then they got to go and now buy an extra ticket and all that stuff for a Little Rock game. But to your point, and I had to write this down or I would even forgot about it. I'm just that scatterbrained sometimes. But to me, asking for more games in Little Rock when you don't sell it out is the same as you criticizing Pittman for believing in this team coming off a 4-8 year. You got to prove it. You can't piss and moan about getting a better game, then you can't even sell that one out. I had a discussion with someone and they weren't getting the playing time on the field that they want or they deserve. But yet when they would go practice or in the game, they just sit on the sidelines. They wouldn't do anything to prove why they should get in the game. Don't complain about not getting to do something and then you don't show why it needs to change. Why would we give you LSU in War Memorial Stadium and there's 30,000 fans in the stadium? Why would we give you anybody if you can't sell that out? And look, you got to bite the bullet. If you want more games in Little Rock, you got to show that passion that used to be there. I know it's hard with the program, but if you want something to change, you got to give them a reason to change it. Why are they going to spend the money that it costs the university to put on a game in Little Rock? And that's another thing. We're talking about the fans, but the university, I don't know how much this cost the U of A to even have that game in War Memorial Stadium. You know, that's another aspect of it. So if you want a better opponent, yes, the team's got to start winning, but the fans got to show up. No matter if it's on a Thursday, you got to do whatever it takes. If you really want to do it, it don't matter how much money you expect the guys in Little Rock and Central Arkansas to shell in so they can get a game. You got to prove that on Thursday night, you better, and I know we joked about it at the beginning of the show, you cannot let the Salt Bowl out attendance you this week. You cannot do it because, again, you won't see games in Little Rock. If you get outsold by a high school game, I don't care if it is a Salt Bowl. That's hard to prove to the U of A and Hunter Yurchek and the powers that be that, hey, let's do Mississippi State there next year. Let's do Ole Miss there next year. You got to give them reason to believe that they should invest in giving a game, because all in all, it's doing nothing but taking away from the loyal fans that pay big money to sit at every home game in Fayetteville.
Well, and I think, like you said at the beginning of all this, you know, and as you've said for months, actually, since I've been doing this, winning cures all.
Yes.
We wouldn't be having this conversation if we had a 8-9 win team. I don't think you may still get the occasional comments here and there, like, "Oh, why are we doing this?" But it wouldn't be a topic of discussion
because
I mean,
that's the only game they could see they could win is in Little Rock. And look, that's just being dead honest. I mean, you're looking at these now. If you feel like you could win all your home games and you're winning the game in Little Rock, it's not going to matter. Look, I mean, this has been done for years prior to what we're dealing with, and we've done it in the 90s when Arkansas first come into the SEC. They were playing Tennessee in War Memorial and getting just absolutely blown out. But that was the one time of the year that there was no internet, there was no ESPN3, there was nothing. You couldn't go on the phone and watch it. You went to the stadium and people filled the stadium at War Memorial to watch that team play because that was it for them. You got to bring that passion back, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. It's a tough thing to hear, but if you want games there, you got to show up.
yeah. And I mean, even one of no, I've never been to the only game I've ever been at War Memorial Stadium, I think was 2000 or 2001, when Matt Jones's year when Northside won the state championship. So, however long that was, but I highly doubt that has been renovated much since then.
No,
And it's one of those things but I do have memories of watching, all the games on TV, whether it be LSU, whether it be Mississippi State. But for years and years, I was always on the side of the argument, as were a lot of fans, like, this game needs to be in Fayetteville.
yeah.
I mean, this game needs to be in front of 70,000 fans. So it's one of those that
That's tough, though.
it is tough, and it's and it's tough to make that decision. But at the same time, like, I get the argument to keep games in Little Rock. I just look at what it takes away, especially on years, which, like I said, half the battle's gone with Arlington being taken out of the picture. But taking, a game to where you really can't have any contact with recruits and such while you're there because it's not on your home campus. They can't take official visits, whatever. They've got to buy tickets themselves and go. It's just, it adds a little wrench to everything.
Well, I don't know if you've seen, Arkansas got approved to give tickets to recruits for the Little Rock game. They can't talk to them, but they filed an appeal with the SEC to be able to give out tickets to some of these recruits. So it's a step in the right direction on that side of it. But man, here's the thing. I've watched 3 games in War Memorial Stadium. This was way back. Heath Schuler was the quarterback for Tennessee. I mean, before Manning. There was 50,000 people. Of course, we know the Miracle on Markham. We know all the games and the, Houston Nut Days. But I've also seen a game in Fayetteville against Florida when Matt Jones was the quarterback and they were down and Matt Jones mounted a comeback and they almost beat him. It was the one where Bua had that penalty on an interception. It's all about passion because I'm telling you, there was probably everybody was leaving the stadium. There was probably 20, 30,000 people in the stadium left. And you couldn't hear yourself think, it was that loud. So you can have a smaller crowd, but you got to have people get into it. And we are in a world now where everybody's on their phones or watching on their phones, or I can get better seats by sitting on the couch. Well, that's fine. You're going to keep being able to sit it on the couch and not be able to watch these games in Little Rock because that's the reason why. You got to make a change. But I really want this, and that's another reason why I was talking about Kudus and the fact that I want this team to be successful because I want that passion to come back out. Everybody is bringing back Bobby Petrino because what he did the last time, because of that nostalgia. I think it's time to make our own nostalgia with a new team, with a new era of Arkansas Razorback athletics, because I've said this is the year of redemption in the big 3 sports. This could change. We could have another 21 year. It could happen. But it starts with football, and they got a uphill battle,
Mhm.
ahead of them.
Definitely. I mean, it's something, the nostalgia, the this, the that. And look, I'm not knocking anything that KJ did for Arkansas while he was here. The records, the accolades, etc. I mean, for what we saw, the most part, he left it all,
Mhm.
out there in a sense. But, it's kind of like, and I know this is going to be different but similar. Calipari in Kentucky, they needed their divorce.
Mhm.
KJ
Yeah.
in Arkansas, I feel like they needed their divorce. The ship had ran its course. And I think getting Talon Green in here will be on top of Bobby Petrino, but
Yes.
getting Talon Green in here will be a spark, will be a bit of a revitalization of the offense that we have so desperately been in need of.
You brought up a good comparison between KJ and Cal. They both felt like they've done the most that they could for the university. Now, on KJ's side of it, I think he got complacent because there was no competition and he was getting his money. But you can make the comparison of this dude battled, didn't transfer until this past season. And I felt like he accomplished as much as he thought he could for this university and went to UCF. So, and Cal, again, he won a national championship for Kentucky and they bash him like he's never won anything. There was nothing he could do outside of winning another national championship that was going to change the aspect of the Kentucky Wildcats fan base. So it's crazy you brought that up, but let's see this is fresh. Taylor Green, Isaiah Satania, Tesla, you got Haas and Washington, Gums, you have a lethal offense that you could really average 30, 35 a game if they really pour it on. But I'm telling you, this offensive line, I really hope they impress me. I want to see them against Oklahoma State and see how they handle a Power 5 opponent. But I want to see how they handle UAPB too. Because look, UAPB is coming in. They hear us talking. They hear everybody talking. They're wanting to come in and upset Arkansas, and they're going to come in with a fire. And let's see what they can do.
Yeah, and going to a couple of the comments here, Roger. I don't know if we've touched on this part of it. I know we did last week, but yeah, I expect by at least the fourth quarter. Halfway. I think the starters should play if you have everything in hand I would say through the third quarter, but I could see them backing off if you've got the game in hand. But I'd say at least the whole fourth quarter, if not a little bit more, you see the backups in. And I don't think that's too far fetched. I know in 21 we beat UAPB, I think 45-3. So that was another game that was, we had in hand. And I think it was a similar outing when it came to when backups came in. And then, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say on, last year we also did the prediction show. Porter was 7-5. We went game by game. And again, I'll just throw out there that yes, I did say we would be 3-9, but that was made in November.
Hey, listen, you ain't got to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? You had the prediction and you're sticking with it.
I did go when we were going game by game and what games I feel like
I changed your mind
would go the other way. But, it is one of those things. Hey, you know what? If I'm proven wrong, proven wrong.
Yeah.
I was proven wrong last year after an 8-4 prediction.
There you go. You're make me prove. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just want this team to come out earliest mid third quarter. It's the fact that I don't care if you're beating this team by 80. You can't give this team a halftime break when you really got things. Because, look, you know how the first quarter is going to go. First quarter is really going to get your feet wet, get your foundation, get all the jitters out, start off slow. You need 2 full quarters where you're clicking. And the reason why I say midway through the third quarter, because that gauges we're missing a key point that I just thought of. You're missing the key point of adjustments. They're going to go do adjustments. Let's see how they handle the adjustments they talk to them about. So I might even push that back. I might even say third quarter and go fourth quarter, like you said, because you're going to still, no matter what who the opponent is, how are we going to adjust? Let's work on our adjustments, then get back in our rhythm. And if you got in the game in hand, then you pull them. Because look, let's be honest. UAPB is getting paid to play in this game, right? You're paying them to come play. They know that this could go the way it is. I think, I don't care. You're up 52-0 or 60-0. It's more of looking ahead, looking at the bigger picture. You are wanting to make sure that you've got your ducks in a row. You have 2 solid quarters, your second quarter and your third quarter, where you are clicking, see how you do on your halftime adjustments, and then pull your guys. That's be the earliest, because you can't take them out at halftime, because then you don't know what they're going to do when there's stuff to be worked on.
I really want to see, let's not take our foot off the gas like we have in the past. Let Bobby Petrino just do what he wants to do. It's the defense's job to stop the offense. So if they can't stop your offense, don't change your game plan just because. I mean, if you're going balls to the wall, go balls to the wall. Keep going, keep firing. Stop. I mean, don't start playing conservative. Don't start just trying to get the game going. Just keep running your game. If they can't stop it, they can't stop it. Stop doing things because of some gentleman's agreement that, like, oh, we're up so much, so we're just gonna run and punt. Like, screw that. Just go all out. Who cares? Team's done it to us before, so do it to somebody else.
Well, and yeah, you made that. It's all the fact they know what they're getting themselves into, and it's college. But more importantly, there's more to gain of Arkansas keeping them in and keeping things rolling. Get the timing going, because look, it's like I said about Landon Jackson. If things get out of hand, how are you going to handle that? All right. So let's think about it. If you're up 35-0, what are you doing? Mentally, you're playing down. You're not running your routes as crisp. You're not coming off the block. You're going easy. I think that's when you learn, because that's how teams get back in it. You could be up 21 points. Say, let's throw a team out there, Mississippi State. You be 21 points up on Mississippi State. You start backing off, and then all of a sudden you're up 3. You really need to use this game as a full learning experience on everything, every aspect of this game. And when you think you got it in hand and you're just going to let off the gas, you can't. You got to keep going. And then fourth quarter, get your guys in. Right? I mean, like, I need backups, need more time so they can create depth. I totally agree. A quarter, I'll tell you this. Look, 15 minutes is a long time. A full quarter of play is plenty of time to get some guys some reps in and get that depth.
Yeah, because I want to see Malachi Singleton get in. I want to see him get in for some decent minutes and not just come in for like one series and whatever. Hell, I don't even like to see if it was just for a series. I'd like to see KJ Jackson at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I want to see some different things from the guys that are further down the depth chart. But I also want to see the starters come out, and if you have every opportunity, pad those stats. Go ahead and go for it, because you're going to have a game that, may not be up to par. So while you have a game like this, act like you're playing EA College Football 25 and pad your stats, or Madden or whatever. And you know that you can beat this, D-back every single time. If you're Broden or Armstrong or Tesla or Satania, go do it. Go receive for 250 yards.
Because, man, you brought up something. It's also telling green when you're reading defensive. Who are you going to pick on? Say Oklahoma State's doing that, or Texas A&M's doing that. It really teaches you to read a defense. If you know this is the weakest guy on that team, take advantage of it, because that's going to help you down the road. Because if you're in a key game and this guy really is just not, he's gassed, he's had it, and that pivotal play or that pivotal moment of that game could be a win or loss. Learn that, because that can, some of these games that you lost last year, you got to go in this business like approach. You can't, no room for error. And you got to go in there full steam ahead, because, and defense is the same way. If you notice the running backs going a certain way, that's going to teach you down the line to read an offense. And you're going to get the people think about these games as just being these blowout games, but it's teaching them more, because the fact that it's against another team, you're adjusting, and it's not your own. It's not the ones versus ones or twos versus two. This is a team that wants to beat you, and you're working on, even run a trick play. You know, you think about these people that run one trick play a year or every other game or fourth game of the year, pivotal moment. They want to try to catch a defensive off guard. Why not do it in a moment like this? Yeah, you might think it's running up the score, but we talk about this execution. You sit there and get your timing against another team, or a jet sweep, or like you said, the wild hog. You never know. Do things that are different to help you with the timing, because again, a fumble against a team on a trick player, they catch it and catch you off guard, and it goes for a 10-yard loss. Well, you're not going to do that again, because now they're looking for it.
And I want the player, you know, the team, if you're up handling, like I want them having fun and everything, but you still have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your head in the game, keep focused, keep your teammates focused as well. Yeah, I mean, you can have a good time. You're up 40, you know, jolly all the time, but at the same time, it's who's looking at those mistakes that you're still making when you're up 40, when your head's not in the game anymore. You got to keep the focus, even if you're up that high.
Yeah. And again, we are not having a show on Thursday. We're going to come to you Wednesday. We're going to do more of a preview. We're going to have someone from Baptist Health come on beforehand. We'll talk to them, and then we'll do a breakdown more in depth of what we can look for this game, the attendance, all that good stuff coming up. But that's going to be on Wednesday from here on out until, you know, unless otherwise. I know next Monday is Labor Day. So, I mean, that might throw a wrench in. You know, we might end up doing something Monday night, might move it to Tuesday. But we'll see how that goes. I know it helps with this game being on Thursday. We might do one. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out, or I might jump on Hog HQ on Sunday. You never know what might happen on that. So I don't, unless something changes, I don't know if we'll do it on Monday because of the holiday. We might do something Tuesday and then Wednesday leading up to Oklahoma State game. Might even do something Friday. We're really looking to see on working our schedules together to bring more content and seeing when things fit perfectly between the two of us to do something more throughout football season. But we'll keep you up to date on that. Adam, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Hog Talk Podcast. Again, we'll come to you Wednesday, 6:30 from the Sterling Soap Studios, brought to you by Believe and the Buzz Radio Network. We'll catch you on Wednesday.